I'm Kosta from Car Focus, and today we're going to be looking at the Niro EV. We do cover quite a lot in these videos, so if there's something specific you want to have a look at, don't forget to use the chapters in the descriptions below. We also rely heavily on subscriptions and likes, so please don't forget to subscribe and like this video and share it with a friend. If there's another vehicle that you'd like us to review on the channel, leave it in the comments below. The Niro comes in two different versions, the full electric and the hybrid. The one we've got here today is the full electric. In Australia, you get a GT and you get an S, and the one we have here today is the GT, top of the range in the Niro. The Niro comes in 8 different colors. The one we've got here today is Cityscape Green. Looking at the styling of the vehicle, it has become signature with electric vehicles. There isn't really a front grille, or rather there is a front grille, but it doesn't focus on air intake. There is still a small air intake at the bottom here, because even electric vehicles are still running air-cooled radiators for the aircon system and some of the other systems. They just don't need a lot of air because they don't run main radiators to cool an internal combustion engine that doesn't exist. So that allows the manufacturers to get a little bit more creative with the front styling of the car. It means that they can do all sorts of things here that they wouldn't ordinarily be able to do. The new Kia logo is in the same brushed aluminium as the front strip that runs through the front of the car. You do get all LED lights, front park sensors. They have put a bit of chrome in there just to break it up, so you get the color, the Cityscape Green, you get the chrome, and you get the black finish in there, so you get the 3 contrasting colors to break it up, and then you incorporate the daytime running lights and the LED, and it all comes together really nicely. So there is no front trunk as some electric vehicles tend to have. All the space has been used up with the electric motor and all the other components that the vehicle needs to operate. You get this prominent front cover that pretty much just hides everything, and the only thing that's accessible is the fuse box, the battery, and the fluid bottles, which is pretty much the only things you'd need to access in any event. The Niro comes with a 7-year warranty or 150,000 kilometers, whichever comes first. There's also a range of service plans available. You can go for the 3-year service plan, which will cover your first 3 services, which costs $621 currently in Australia, and you can extend that up to 7 years for $1,754, which is transferable, so those service plans do stay with the vehicle and transfer with new owners. You also get a 12-month roadside assist, which gets renewed every time that you do one of your services at an authorized Kia dealer. This is all Australian standards. The electric charger takes place from the front here and accommodates AC and DC, producing 150 kilowatts of power. It is front-wheel drive and has a published range of 460 kilometers per charge. So if you were to charge it at home and leave it plugged in overnight, you'd get about 64 kilometers of range. If you want to just charge it to full at home, just plugged into the wall, it can take 27 hours to fully charge the vehicle. So it's highly recommended that you find a local DC charger and something that can really speed up your charging speeds. Looking at the side of the vehicle, there's a lot of exciting things going on with the styling, starting with the color. It's not every day that I see a vehicle color that really speaks to me, and this one does. It's just different enough to stand out, but at the same time, it's unassuming enough so that it still blends in, so I like that. The side indicators have been very cleverly and stylishly designed and fitted into the rear view mirrors over here. The mirrors are also split, so you get a black half and a color half to complement the black finish that runs along the side of the vehicle and also ties in with the black around the rims and the side skirts all the way across the back of the car, and then that kind of just flicks up and ties in really nicely with the rear tail light and the back window. So all of the styling cues all flowing together really nicely. You also get this chrome finish running along the top over here just to break up the color and the black again, so it's in keeping with the front styling of the vehicle. Your roof rails are finished in this black piano finish again, so that ties in with this section of the mirrors and the wheel arches and everything else. So you got proximity key on the driver's door handle so that you can enter and exit the vehicle at the touch of a button. 17-inch alloy rims on both the GT and the S, like the ones you see here today. You get privacy glass on the rear window, and you get tinted front glass as well. The power tailgate is operated either with a button underneath here, the key, or a proximity sensor as well. So looking inside the boot of the vehicle, it's got a modulated boot with this compartment, or board rather, that slides out. So you can put it in 2 different positions. The top position, like that, which will give you a flat loading area. But if you do need more space, this can come up, slide down, and create more boot space for you. You've also got these little storage compartments on either side, left and right. You've got your little courtesy light on the right hand side, your 60-40 split as well as all the child tethering points, so 3 child tethering points running through the back of the vehicle. The charging cable will sit in this supplied little pouch over here that once the charging kit is inside, they can slot nicely underneath there and has somewhere to be stored. So it does have a temporary mobility kit. So this is a sealant, so you'd be able to pour that into the punctured tire, which would temporarily fill it up and get it functioning again. And it also has a little compressor here, so you're using one of the 12-volt power points supplied inside the vehicle. You plug in the compressor, and that allows you to reinflate a tire. So if you've got a slow puncture or anything like that, that will get you going nicely. So there is no spare wheel. Looking at the back of the vehicle, you got a fair bit of leg room over here. You got the Harman Kardon speakers in the doors. The styling of the front seats are pretty unique, and because of that, normally a lot of the times when you're climbing in and out of a vehicle, you're using the back of the seat to kind of use it as a grab handle to get yourself in and out. So what they've done is they've actually allowed this little section here just behind the headrest to almost act as a grab handle. So functionally really clever. You also have these little pockets behind the seats, which are unique again in that they've actually got a hard finish to them, so and they're also kind of spring loaded and pop out like this, so you can fit items in there, and because they're spring loaded, they'll kind of clamp back in on the item that you're storing there. You got your 2 rear air vents at the back here. You also get these little USB-C points, one on either side, so both rear passengers are able to charge their devices using these charge points. Unique to an EV and something that you don't see very often is the vehicle to load. So vehicle to load actually allows you to plug in a normal appliance and gives you a full 240 volt charge point situated just behind the seat there. So a lot of power if you need it. In addition to that, you can also do vehicle to load through the front charging point, which basically vehicle to load, what that means is it's turning your vehicle into a power generator or one big massive battery that you can use to power whatever you want to power. Rear armrest folds down neatly at the back here with 2 separate cup holders. You've got good headroom here at the back. My head isn't touching the roof at all, so I've got good clearance at the back. You've got grab handles and you've got coat hangers. Artificial leather with a charcoal finish in the Niro that we have here today. Your 3-point seat belts, 3 rear head restraints, ISOFIX child safety points, all the standard safety features that you'd expect to find in a modern vehicle. You've also got a 1-piece carpet running through the center of the car, so there is no transmission well or case or anything like that running through it because it is a all electric vehicle. Inside the cabin, you've got your artificial leather perforated seats, heated and air conditioned driver and front passenger seating. You've also got 8-way electric adjustable seats with 2-way lumbar support. You've got the center console, encompasses all your center controls and creates the split between driver and passenger. You've got this light inside the dash that at first glance doesn't actually look like it's lit up, but it is. You've also got a very modern styled dashboard in keeping with what you'd want to expect to see in an electric vehicle and a modern vehicle like this one. You've got your glove box, Niro mats, which are also got white stitching and have got the Niro logo running through them. Your Harman Kardon sound system that runs through the cabin of the vehicle and has 2 very pronounced speakers in the doors. You've also got this bold use of piano black finish running through the front doors. Looking at the driver's door, you've got your standard controls here, your electric mirrors, your fold back mirrors, your central locking and your power windows. Your door handle is also got this nice little flick styling over there, so the handle actually stops over there, but they've chosen to put this extra bit in there just to complete the styling. The dashboard has got this brake that runs through it over here, and that brake actually runs all the way across the top. It gives you the sense that your dashboard is kind of just floating in front of you, which is pretty unique. You've got this textured finish on the dashboard, which breaks it up a little bit. When you cast your eye across it, it gives it a nice texture and a nice feel. Another Harman Kardon speaker at the top there, and all these speakers have got a unique finish to the way that they've been perforated, again just to give you that look and feel of something different. Over here you've got your height adjustable headlights, your power tailgate and your ESP activation and deactivation button. So the modern styling translates onto the steering wheel and onto the stalks. Normally I don't spend a lot of time talking about the stalks, but in this case I do, because they've definitely got this very tactile and solid feel about them. You really get a sense of when they've clipped from one position to the next. They've also opted to use these dials on the ends which I like because again they're pretty solid and easy to understand while you're driving it, to feel them and know where they are. With the windscreen wiper function, a lot of the times you never really know which position your wiper stalk is in. So with this one, they do actually give you a digital readout which tells you what position the stalk is in. So these little details, they all come together to make a much more enjoyable driver experience. They've gone with like a 2-spoke steering wheel, which is very unusual. I dare say a little bit retro, and something that you don't see a lot in modern cars. You've got your normal controls on this side for your phone, your audio, your modes, your voice assistant on this side. The start button, a unique Kia feature that I've seen. It's a customizable button and allows you to put, there's a range of options that you can option into that button and what you want it to be used for. On this side, you got your cruise control, your lane departure warnings, your distances, and all of those usual things that you'd expect to find. And your drive mode button, that's been stylishly fitted over here. And normally this button is kept on the center console, but they've actually left it on the steering wheel this time, so you can adjust your drive modes. You also have these 2 paddles, and now you think, well, why do I need paddle shifters in an electric car? Because it doesn't have, it's a 1-speed, but this actually allows you to increase and decrease your regenerative braking aggressiveness. So you can press minus to make it less aggressive and plus to make it more aggressive. The steering wheel is also heated, and it's height and reach adjustable. So it's got 2 10-inch displays, digital displays, one right in front of the driver and one to the left of the driver. Seeing these centralized displays, they kind of make it look like it's all one big digital screen, but really what they've done is they've put 2 separate digital screens in there and broken up the information. So if you look at that center console, you get your battery charge on the right hand side. On the left hand side, you've got your speed and you've got your battery health from high to low. So your charge points situated just there. You've got your trip computer in the center, which gives you the information. You've also got your P at the top to tell you where your gears are sitting in. So at the moment we're in park. To the right of that, you've got all your cruise controls, following distances, sat nav information, lane keep assist, all of those little bits and pieces. So as I mentioned earlier, when you move the wipers, it brings up that wiper display and it lets you know which position your wipers are in. So are they off, in the auto, the low, or the high position? Really useful to know where your stalk is sitting. So since your last charge, you've now done 71 kilometers and you have 118 kilometers left on your range. It's also told you that to do those 71 kilometers, it took you 1 hour and 40 minutes. It also has a feature which detects that the vehicle in front of you has moved on and warns you to get moving in the traffic. So looking at the center display, this is your main menu. Well, it actually starts off on that startup screen. On your startup screen, you get your time and your date and your digital radio and all of that kind of stuff. If you scroll to the right, you get your EV, your maps, your navigation menu. You can set up a phone, your voice memos, climate control, valet mode. So all these different features. And you can also scroll again to get to your radio, your media. So you can actually long press and you can then move them around. So depending on which button you want where, for me, for example, I would have thought that you would have wanted the radio on this front screen. So if you do, you can just do a long press on maps, for example, and you can shift them around and swap them. You also have that main menu button at the top, which allows you to switch off the display. Really handy for long distance nighttime driving where you don't want all this extra light glaring into your face. And to wake it up again, you just tap the screen anywhere. EV mode tells you exactly what's going on with the car's with the electric settings of the car. And so it gives you your distance to empty, 122 kilometers on our current charge, giving us a 32% battery life over there. So it's giving us distance to the closest charger. So there must obviously be a charger somewhere around here. Over here, this is another digital control menu actually. So all of these buttons, you can just tap on them and activate them. If you want to switch off the aircon, you just power it down using that switch there. You do have dual climate control, and you can from here also access media. You can access the radio. So these are shortcut keys to some of the other buttons we were looking at earlier: navigation, maps, and then your favorites button. So you know that hasn't been set at the moment. And then here you got all your climate control settings, so your fan speeds, recirculation, auto climate, volume controls, as well as your power button on and off there. So just moving back down onto the center console, you've got your start stop EV button. You then also have your heated and air conditioned seats for both driver and passenger on left and right. What's good with the heated seats, a lot of the times in cars when you switch on the heated seats and then you switch off your car and go away, and then you come back to it at lunchtime where it's heated up and you don't actually want the seats on, you climb in and they're still on because you had left them on. With the Niro, they actually reset to the off position when the car switches off. Just below that, you've also got your heated steering wheel, your auto hold button, your electric park brake, your gear shifter over here, drive, neutral, reverse and park, so pretty standard. And then your passenger controls down there. These are your park sensors, and that's your park camera, so you can actually change your park angles and views using that button. So just underneath there, you've got a USB-C, you've also got wireless charging, you've got a USB-A, and you've got a 12 volt, 180 watt charging point there. Your wireless charging takes place on that very neat little rubber mat just underneath there, with lots of little grips and ridges to make sure that your cell phone doesn't go flying around as you're driving. So the car is fitted with this clever, versatile storage compartment. It's got an all open space like this, but if you do want to turn that into a cup holder, you just push that button and this little guy comes out, and then that turns into a cup holder. And if you want a second cup holder, you just do that. The only disadvantage with these is they're not ribbed or edged in any way, so if your cup isn't the right size, it could end up sloshing around in there. So we've jumped in for the first time, hit the start button, slipped it into drive. Now our park is in auto hold, so I'm going to switch that off. I don't like auto hold personally. And as we pull off, just that slight whine of the electric motor as it powers up. So that's the thing with electric cars, because they're so quiet, you start hearing noises that you wouldn't normally hear when you're driving a internal combustion engine car, because those little slight dirt and stuff flicking up onto the fenders, you wouldn't normally hear that, because there'd be enough other noises going on in the cabin, so that you don't hear these little things. So they are very quiet, as you'd expect. They're very responsive electric vehicles. So again, the ride is very comfortable. There is a lot of road noise, but we've already explained why you would get that in an EV. I think that the touchscreen is okay. But again, I don't like using touchscreens while I'm driving. I feel like I've just got to take my eye too far off the road to use them, and this is why I do like these mechanical tactile controls that the car has for your essential things like your wipers and your lights and your indicators. And even the regenerative braking. So I actually want to use that now. So if we use the regenerative braking, so what I'm doing is I'm using the left paddle shifter to decrease regenerative braking. So I think I've got it all the way to its lowest, which means that when I take my foot off the accelerator, the car is still kind of rolling on its own. And if I use the left and hold it down, it actually brings the car to a complete stop. So that's the regenerative braking. This is your regenerative braking indicator. So now it's set to max. So at max, it will bring the car to a complete stop. And there is regenerative braking is at 0. So that's at its least aggressive position, I guess. So it's got 4 different positions. So I think it sits against all manner of other electric vehicles. There's a lot of electric vehicles on the market at the moment. With every manufacturer just about now bringing out a full electric vehicle. That segment of the market's heating up. There's a lot of competition there now. There's a lot of different options. A lot of EVs are still very expensive, and this one is no exception. A lot of them are getting all the way up there into Tesla money, so it's really interesting. Tesla originally hit the market as the first electric vehicle, full electric vehicle in the world, turned the industry on its head, made everybody realize that EV vehicles are viable. And all the manufacturers have been scrambling from then till now to bring an EV vehicle onto the market. And they've all done it with varying degrees of success, but they've all done it at a very expensive price point. Thank you for watching this far. And no, I haven't forgotten. My favorite feature about the Niro is this SOS button. At the touch of a button, the Niro will make an emergency call for you to Kia's roadside assist services.
Welcome to Kia Connect Car. Please be advised that all calls are recorded for quality assurance purposes.
So we've just called the Kia Roadside Assist Service here in Australia using the SOS button and the embedded modem that exists in the Kia Niro. Thank you for watching, and I hope you love my favorite feature about the Kia Niro.